Ruffy's opened the hornet's nest there for everybody. Of course, over the course of the next 24 hours, we'll be talking about the two games. Rangers against St Johnstone and Celtic are on their way up to Dingwall to take on Ross County. Here's a look at the fixtures to see what you've got to look forward to, because tonight we've got Hibs against Dundee. And we're going to talk about a potential appointment at Hibs, because it looks as if the general feeling is somebody's gone with the news that maybe Sean Maloney is indeed in the box seat. Tam McManus mentioned it last week, and suddenly it's gathered pace.
Yeah, I think it depends if Sean Maloney wants to make that step. We know he's been assistant over at Belgium for a wee while, had tremendous amount of success and working with a tremendous manager. You can see why, if he is the man, that Hibs would go for somebody of that calibre. You know, he has done, I think, what people usually say. He's went away, he's learnt his trade, you know, and this could be his first step, but we'll have to wait and see if that happens.
Well, I don't know about you, knowing Sean as I do, Hugh, I think he speaks well, very articulate, an intelligent boy, certainly a great player in his day, and actually travelled, you know, and played in England as well at a very good level. So, you know, and he has been with Belgium and looking at top drawer players. So I think Hibs would be very forward thinking if they landed him.
Yeah, I mean, every managerial appointment is a gamble, you know. But you know, obviously, you know, when you're getting your first managerial job, there's unknowns that you don't quite know about on both sides. To Maloney's credit in the ledger, you know, he's got all of what you've pointed out, Peter, and he's also got a really strong determination to do well in the game. And I mean, I interviewed him in the summer before the Euros, and the stuff he was talking about, the level of detail that he and Martinez went into, the way they dealt with those great players like De Bruyne, Witsel, Hazard, and the rest of them. You know, he was a very impressive wee lad, talking about the coaching, and also rumours as well that, you know, you bring on board Gary Caldwell as well, who might be, you know, might be a more divisive figure. But Gary Caldwell speaks really well about the game as well, and I know Alan's had, you know, personal contact with him. So I'm all for it, Peter. I would say, you know, go for the younger guys, go for a bit of freshness.
Yeah, Ruffy, you know Gary Caldwell well.
Yeah, and everything good to say about Gary, and even in his interview, you know, a lot of people picked on it a wee bit, because when he came into the boardroom, he had an analysis already of every player at the club. He was very thorough in what he was getting into, and everybody thought that was, you know, not the way to go ahead to get in as a manager. But ever since he came in, everything he did was modern day, and some people just couldn't handle the way he operated. I thought he was a very, very good young manager, and unfortunately, as you said, sometimes you go to a club at the wrong time, and I think it was the wrong time at us. But everything I saw that he did behind the scenes was top class.
Yeah, this is what the CEO, Ben Kensel, had to say about making that selection for Hibernian. I'd like to assure supporters we are undergoing an incredibly thorough and strategic approach as we recruit a new manager. As a club, you must continuously plan for the future. This has allowed us to stay in control of this rigorous process. There's been a lot of interest in the role and speculation in the media regarding the managerial position, and much of this has been wide of the mark. We have a clear vision for the football club. We want to acquire a manager who has an attacking mentality and is progressive and hungry for the opportunity to build something special here at Hibs. And that certainly would fit the bill with Sean Maloney if they put their faith in him.
I think so. I mean, people may underestimate his drive and ambition because of his, you know, he's softly spoken, very intelligent, articulate, but he's a driven character. You know, even the size of him and the shape of him to make it in top class football, Peter. You need to be tough when you're that size.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, I think, as a side issue is, you know, maybe jumping ahead of the gun, but, you know, what would they, I mean, that job he's leaving is not only a great job if he, you know, if it does come to pass at Belgium, but it's a job with a once in a lifetime, I mean, once in 10 lifetimes possibility. You could be in charge of the number one, or You could be on the coaching staff of the #1 ranked team of the, you know, in the world in a World Cup year.
Yeah.
But again, there might be leeway to say to him, listen, you know, you do your job here, and you can also for at least a year be the #2 at Belgium as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You know, I don't know if as an individual to get the chance to manage a club the size of Hibs, Ruffy, I understand where he's coming from. Qatar, World Cup. I do think they're on the, I don't know if it's the downward slope, but it's certainly the questionable slope on whether this golden generation is going to achieve the potential that everybody thought they were going to achieve. And that might be the big dilemma. Do I think of myself, which I think you've got to, or do I sit here and wait for them to achieve what everybody thought they might do?
Well, he's got to do that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what he'll be, if he has been approached, he's going to have to say, as Hugh said, it's an incredible year, World Cup year. It might just be a year. You know, the Hibs one might be a 4-year deal. And after that year, there's no guarantee Belgium are going to win it, whether we're there or thereabouts. And if they don't win it, you know, and that Hibs job goes, you know, these are the kind of things he's got to think about.
Yeah.
And it depends what's on the table at Hibs as well.
And the thing about it, you know, the thing about Sean is he's very intelligent, and Sean wants to be the manager of a team. He doesn't want to be #2. He doesn't want to be. He wants to be the head coach, not just a coach. And you've got to think to yourself, if he gets offered the Hibs job, what better job could he be offered at this stage of his career? I don't think I don't think in head coach terms he would get a better job offer than Hibs, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's a good call. I mean, I think they're a great club. I think the stadium is starting to really look the part. I think behind the scenes he's making changes for the better. So I think you're right, a really progressive club, Hibs, and a good first job for someone to start in. If you can make a successor or get a wee bit of success delivered to him, silverware, you know, it can elevate you to an even bigger job. So, Sean Maloney, if you're a Hibs fan out there, does that float your boat? Are you excited by it? Also, Hibs in action against Dundee, and their form hasn't been great. So, David Gray, it could be his last match or his second last match in charge. I think they need a major confidence boost, Ruffy, going into the cup final.
Yeah, we said that with the Rangers manager. We said in the semi-final against Hibs, the next manager at Rangers needs to be in that dressing room. You know, at the semi-final, he wasn't. He was in the stand, and there was a lot of criticism after that he should have been in the dressing room. I think the same thing will happen with Hibs. You know, I think it would be to Hibs' benefit if they had a new manager to walk into that dressing room at Hampden at the final. It'd be a massive boost for everybody, the players, the fans. So it depends how quickly they went with this one, and I know it won't be easy, you know, shifting Maloney for Belgium, you know, because obviously Belgium will have something to say about it. So they'll have to work very, very quick, but I think that has to be in the dressing room at the weekend.
Yeah, and Dundee, can they pose any real threat tonight? Because that was a bitter blow at the weekend for them. They are right in the mire now.
Yep, they're such a up and down side, aren't they? You know, every time you think they're coming out the mire, you know, they just slip.
Well, it's the Al Pacino. Every time I think about you, drag me back in.
and they're back in. I think they might get a point tonight, Peter. I'm taking them for a point tonight because I think they're a better team than their league position shows. I know that's always a dangerous thing to say.
Absolutely.
But I still, you know, I think they're better than that. I think that, you know, I think they could get a point tonight.
I've gone Hibs 2, Dundee 0.
So far.
Yeah,
I have as well. I think the defending with Dundee up at Ross County was just scattergun, and you could see why James McPake was absolutely livid after the game. They've got a bad habit of losing bad goals, you know, and I think with everything that's happening at Hibs just now, I think that might just be the momentum, the cup final at the weekend. Players will be out to impress whoever's in charge, whether it's Gray that's there or whoever's coming in. and they'll all want to be in that cup final side. So for me as well, it's Hibs 2-0.
Yeah, okay. We've got 2 games to talk about tomorrow. Rangers against St Johnstone, Ross County against Celtic on the horizon. Incidentally, if you haven't yet managed to do it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. The minute you do, you could be in with a chance of winning this fabulous Xbox S series. Not Xbox One as I originally had thrown out there, but this Xbox could be a brilliant pre-Christmas present. We're going to announce the winner on Friday. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, get your notifications. The other good news, if you're on PLZ Soccer's Facebook page, on that live page, all you have to do is follow us and of course share it, like, and you're in the hat as well to win this fabulous prize. What a prize it will be, Hughie.
It's just a box, though. It's just a box.
Yeah, well, we can't afford the thing inside it.
Yeah, but it's a lovely box.
S series. I mean, I think this is the all mod cons one that everybody's trying to get.
I would have no idea, of course, what this is all about.
It's a bit like.
Yeah, a friend of mine who I play tennis with queued outside Argos for 2 hours to get one of their boxes.
Well,
there you go.
There you are. So it's the S Series 1, Hugh. It's a bit like when your mum and dad came in and said, look, this thing has 3 channels on it, and if you hit it, pictures come through.
I remember that day. I remember that day.
So there you are. Just incidentally, good luck with everybody with the competition. We've got you back because you were out there in Qatar on a...
Yep.
I'm not going to say... We always say in the journalistic fraternity, you're out there on a jolly.
I know.
I
remember how that reacted with Celtic with people calling their trip to Dubai a jolly. So I might go down there. It was in many ways. It was it was a working trip, and I was getting some features for the World Cup.
Without in any way going against the grain of what you're writing for your newspaper, are they getting ready? Are you excited by what they're going to offer?
Well, put it this way, I came back and I booked my flights to the World Cup. I booked my flights yesterday to Qatar for the World Cup and paid for them.
Wow.
And one fell swoop of the lovely plastic. Apparently there's plastic little things. Yeah. You don't have to give people money, you just give them this number and they say that's it, it's paid, Mr. McDonald. So I booked the flights.
Wow.
So
you and your son?
You mean Ali are going for the first week.
Just as fans to watch
the first fans, just to and see what tickets we can pick up.
And what if Scotland eventually get to the final where you just try and cadge your way through a ticket?
Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, what if Scotland get there? It would be fantastic, even to be there for the first week. I mean, I'll say to anybody, there's so many issues about Qatar and they're not going to be resolved, and we know...
human rights.
Human rights is a big story, Peter. Migrant rights is a big story. Gay rights, the alcohol situation at grounds. But what I can say is that the actual football infrastructure there is beyond anything. I mean, I've been to grounds all over the world. I've been a lucky, blessed man. I have not seen anything like this, anything approaching this. There's stadiums there that you go. There's a stadium there in the shape of called Al Bayt, and I'll tell the viewers to BAYT. Look it up on Google or YouTube, whatever. And it's a stadium that just looks like a tent.
Yeah.
I've never seen a stadium that looks like this in my life, Alan. It's just incredible inside.
Can I ask you, should the overriding issue here be, have they got the structure in place? Yes, to host the tournament to the detriment of thinking about all these issues, or should they try and address them or force some kind of change before this tournament takes place, or is that gone now?
No, I think they're actually doing it. I mean, one of the things I did was, it was go around the country. It was a very small country. Apparently it's smaller than Perthshire, the country, seriously.
Wow. So
it was easy to get around and talk to people. The people there were not worried about who you talked to. It was free to go and speak to anybody you want. So I was unaccompanied and things like that. And talking to a lot of aid workers and certainly a lot of academics, they believe great progress has been made. That was the message I got. They were working on things, and the Qatar in many areas was well ahead of the other Gulf states, particularly actually in workers' rights. But there's no whitewash on this. There's still issues, but there's progress on the issues. If you talk about the actual football, and you shouldn't divorce it, we know you can't divorce that. Yeah. If you actually talk about the actual football side of it, it's going to be spectacular in terms of what you call infrastructure, stadiums, travel to the grounds. It's going to be spectacular.
Yeah. What about are they all air conditioned?
Yeah, but the weather's not a problem. The weather was only a problem if it was going to be a summer World Cup. They're going to get 40, 45 degrees. And this is their winter. This is the second winter I've been over there, and it's just nice. It's like 22, 20, 25 degrees at most. It's the kind of thing, if you're going to the World Cup, you take a light jacket, a PLZ Maestro jacket even for the night game.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. What, all 4 colours?
Use that wee card for us.
Yeah, exactly. I'd go there. Okay, good little insight there, Hugh, on Qatar. I'm sure we'll read with interest what moves are made to address all those issues as we get ever closer to the tournament. Domestically, we're looking at Rangers against St Johnstone, 4 points clear of Celtic. This is what Giovanni van Bronckhorst had to say about his team and the selection. And clearly, whether we play against a team that press or sit back, or mentality always will be the same. We will aim to get the 3 points. It's important for me to be on the pitch at training and see the quality of the players. And he's highlighted here, Scott Arfield is a player who can be really strong within our system. In the last few games, he played really well. I'm happy with all the players, both offensively and defensively. I'm not surprised by that statement, Ruffy, from Giovanni van Bronckhorst, because hasn't lost a game yet. And, you know, are they easier on the eye to watch than Gerrard's side? What do you make of the change?
I think they're getting the ball wider more. You know, I think they're using a lot of width in the team. You know, and maybe that's the case why they are scoring different kind of goals. You know, they're certainly more balls coming in for the wide positions, and maybe that's easier for the strikers. And we've seen the midfield, Aribo and them are all running about the 18-yard box. So he's certainly got them, you know, middle to front. You know, I think more active than what they were, you know, sometimes a wee bit slower build up, but I think it's now more positive. But tonight's game, you know, we always look at midweek games for shocks, but I can't see a shock in this one. I just can't. You thought I was just going to build them up there.
No, but you're just going to relentlessly. I don't know what it is about him. He is obsessed by suggesting that because it's midweek, people suddenly feel a wee bit queasy and there's a shock on the cards.
Well, there was Ross County 1-0 last week.
Oh, wait a minute, you're not going to isolate shock results in midweek, are you?
I think midweek, I don't know what it is about midweek. The form seems to go out the window, but it's not going to go out the window tonight. If it goes out the window tonight, I'll be extremely surprised. The thing for me is, what does St Johnstone do? No, they cannot afford to go to Ibrox and get beat 4, 5, 6-0. So I think they have to be spoilers of the night. Have to think.
I think they were going to be spoilers if they were second in the league. I mean, that's the way the team's set up. I mean, it's the way Callum Davidson sets the team up. He sets the team up, you know, to sit deep. And try and break on the attack, and they'll be doing that at Ibrox. There's no doubt about that. I think St Johnstone at the moment are, you know, in big trouble. I don't think they'll be looking for tonight for salvation, but they'll be looking very quickly to get something on the go.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I mean, you say, you know, they won't be getting, they won't want to get hammered 5 or 6-0. They're not getting hammered anywhere. They're just not able to score goals. If you look back over them, lost to Aberdeen, single goal. Same with Dundee. You know, lost by the odd 1 and 3 against Hibs. Lost a goal to Celtic. Drew with St Mirren. It's one goal because they're so good defensively at times. But if they lose a goal, they can't get level or get the winner.
Yeah, they've got nothing. You know, nothing really strong up top. I know. You know, even Kane, who's been great for them. Kane's great for them because of the work rate, the way he can relieve pressure by holding the ball up. You know, they really needed a Stevie May in his pomp, you know, to chip in, you know, 10, 15 goals a season, and they've just not got that. What they'll be looking for, of course, is is break quickly. You know, just have a break, have a holler and it breaks.
But they've got I think the other bitter blow for them as well, Hugh, is, well, no, never mind the players that they've sold. They've lost Witherspoon for 8 months. He's out with an ACL injury.
Witherspoon was a big blow. McCann's a huge blow for him as well. You know, losing him so late in the transfer window. You know, and I just think they're in a place now that they really need the lift of just. And they're not going to get it tonight. No. But they need a lift of, you know, going somewhere and just winning 1-0 when they didn't deserve to, just getting a result.
I've got Rangers to win 2-0 because I just think at the moment, you say they're getting it wide. There's also, the evidence of that ball from Goldson straight through to Aribo at the weekend, which was an absolute peach for me. I think they're mixing it up nicely as well.
Well, my view is that getting Steven Gerrard goes, Rangers fans in a certain, not quite panic, but certainly apprehension what happens next. And you can argue all you want, but I think it's who's better, Van Bronckhorst or Gerrard? I'll leave that to others to decide. But it's not a downgrade.
No, absolutely not.
Getting Van Bronckhorst is not a downgrade.
Just out of curiosity, just briefly before I get Ruffy's thoughts on it, but what's your thoughts on this Dave King ongoing situation? We've still got, the major shareholding in the club, and there's a wee suggestion that he's going to try and edge himself back on, to steer this one. This is.
Well, it is the story that's actually, I think, it's been underreported, over the last few weeks, Peter. I mean, I thought the fact that he voted against Graham Park was a seismic story. The majors. Can you imagine that? Any other AGM where the major shareholder, votes against a fellow director. Well, a director, not a fellow director, because of course Dave King is left aboard. He's already said he wants back in, and that might not be a declaration of war, but it'll do till we get one.
Yeah.
Because he obviously is not, shall we say, in line with a lot of things that are going on at the club. There's obviously a conflict with Graham Park. There's obviously issues over the shared dilution that's happening. That's a story to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. There are so many things that I think will come to a head. But who wins out in the end? Only time will tell. We can only report what has been happening and the quotes coming out from Dave King. You can give us your own view on this. But it matters not a jot, Ruffy. If Rangers keep on winning, the fans are interested in what the manager's doing and what the players are doing on the pitch. Off the field events can occupy their thoughts at some point, but it's all about getting the title.
Yeah, that's the same at every club. There can be things going on behind the scenes that the supporters really want to know what's going on. But if you're in, top of the league and you're playing in Europe and you're winning and you're playing good football and everything's rosy, these questions don't get asked. It doesn't matter what club you're at, but they do get asked eventually when things aren't going particularly well. So that's why it's so important that Rangers keep doing well in the park.
Yeah, okay. So what have you got for this one?
Same as you, 2-0.
2-0, no shocks.
Starman, Xander Clark.
Yeah, okay. Up at Dingwall, Ross County, they're on a high. It was a good win over Dundee. They have been playing good football, unbeaten in 4. It's one of those ones where you're wondering, is this the point where maybe Celtic have to be at it, especially with the worries? Kyogo not there. I did see something against Motherwell which I thought was rather worrying, Hugh, which was quite simply, but for the brilliant free kick which was scored by Rogic, they were constantly looking and thinking there's nobody in there who's a typical number 9. Turnbull may have been playing as forward as he could, but when the ball was there, they were coming, they were checking out, they were going again and trying to look to play the ball in behind, but there was no centre forward. No centre forward,
I think Postecoglou will be thinking hard about his decision last Thursday with, in terms of substitutions. But that's gone, and he's got to face it. I think Celtic are playing really well. I mean, I think that the creating chances are very, very fluid, very fast. Apart from Europe, in domestic games, pretty solid defensively as well. Hearts the other week, they had a couple of decent shouts, but Celtic had a right few chances against Hearts. So I still think, a difficult game for Celtic. All games will be at the moment when they're so stretched injury-wise, but I think there's enough about them to win. Yeah, and of course Celtic fans will be thinking, okay, can you get the win tonight and get into the match against Hibs at Hampden on Sunday? Incidentally, we'll be live in the build-up to that game. Gabriel Antoniazzi will be out there at Hampden Park. Ruffy and myself will be previewing the match on Sunday, the big one, Celtic against Hibs. Will Kyogo play? Here's what Ange Postecoglou had to say about it today.
It's not a matter of sort of ducks and drakes. So who knows? I'm not sure. Like I said, he's not far off. It just depends. It's a day-to-day thing. If he's ready to go, we'll play him. If he's not, then we'll look to the following game. But I'd expect him to be back over, at some point in the next week or so, from the way he's improving at the moment. But again, there's always, with these things, you're kind of relying on everything running smoothly.
Yeah, big player for them, I think, at Hampden especially, Ruffy. Depending on what happens with Hibs, if Hibs are in the mood, if Hibs turn up, but he's huge for Celtic as an outlet. In and around that 6-yard area, you just always expect him to pounce.
Well, it's exactly what you were just talking about there, no striker, but he has got the movement, an out-and-out striker. He's just got the movement that's far superior to anybody else. He reads the game quicker than anybody else, and he gets in, he's got that wee half yard that can get in front of your centre half, and they'll know how near he is. It's okay him throwing it out there, saying what did he say? He's there.
If he's ready, he'll go. Yeah.
They'll be hanging on to that, because if they announce on Sunday that he's fit to play, that's a massive lift.
Yeah,
it's a massive lift for Celtic, and it's a blow for Hibs, obviously. So it might be a wee bit psychologically going on just now. But to get back to what you were talking about, Celtic have not playing with strikers. They've now made their midfield strikers. Their midfield, they're playing to a new formation now. That the midfield are the ones that are so advanced now, and you've saw it. They just get the ball wide and they all flood the 18-yard box. And when you're creating, and Hugh touched on it briefly, 25 shots on target at the weekend.
Yeah.
If you've got that kind of stats, they're going to hit the back of the net eventually.
Yeah. As far as fans getting to see these games, I was actually, looking at wondering how many fans would make the journey up to Dingwall. Obviously, everybody's hanging on the word of the First Minister today, because they thought, if this is suddenly lockdown again for supporters going to games, I think people would be pulling their hair out. So would clubs. Now, I'm very careful here, because some of the people who... We don't mind people offering their opinion, people offering their opinion on the YouTube and everything. What I do stress on the programme, Hugh, is we offer what has been said by the government on getting a JAG. If you want to get a JAG, if you get 2 JAGs, you can go to certain venues, whether it's sport, music, you name it. This is not a platform where we are pushing, you must get a vaccination. But we have highlighted on several occasions the fact that if you don't want to get it, that's fine. If you believe the earth is flat, fine. If you believe whatever, I don't care what you believe. We're not pro-vaccination. It's a democratic society. Do what you like. But unfortunately, in this country, if you want to do what you like and it doesn't involve getting a vaccine, you're not getting in.
Yep. And that's the way. I mean, I'm old enough to know that. See, the stuff about vaccines. It's a new controversy, an absolutely new controversy. I'm old enough to remember when vaccines came in at first for smallpox, for polio, etc. And there's no discussion about it. It was this vaccine can save your life. Well, there's my arm. Now, others don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, that's fine. That's their democratic right.
And go about it. But there's going to be consequences for it, because what's going to happen is, and it's one that could be for a Radio 4 programme, the moral maze. You could sit and argue the rights of humans individually, etc. Yeah. But if the government declares that not having a vaccine not only puts yourself at risk, but puts others at risk, and that, if they decide that, then that's the way it's going to go. And I think it's going to go very, very quickly to not only 2 shots, but you must prove you're a booster.
Joe Hart was talking about it today, and obviously mentioned the fact that the safety of the fans is paramount.
The obvious answer is, it's better when we've got full support. Of course it is, but it's not about what suits us. It's about safety of everyone's safety. So that's the most important thing, and that will always remain the most important thing. If we can have crowds supporting us like they do, then great. But if not, we understand.
Well, I've got Ross County 1, Celtic 3. Ruffy, what have you got?
I've got Celtic to win 2-0.
I've got Celtic to win as well, but I don't know what.
You've got 3-1.
3-1.
Same as me. Hugh, I don't know if you're aware of this, and I don't know if we have it there. I'll be told in a second or two, but we do have a predictor, which is suddenly a league table which is getting mightily mightily close, because what's happening is you've got Tam getting 13 points at the weekend. Suddenly, Ruffy had a 21, albeit Ruffy got 21 points over a weekend where he had been absolutely blitzed out of his head for his 70th birthday.
He's actually he failed a drug test, and those 21 points, those 21 points have been taken away. The drug was ethanol, which is alcohol, right? He was under the influence, so those 21 points actually are under arbitration at the moment, Peter.
Well, I have to tell you, Hugh, look at how tight it is, because I'm on 139, so is Alison, so is Ruffy, you're in the middle on 132, Gabriel's on 123, and would you believe it, McManus is on 123. The battle at the bottom has suddenly it's so much tighter.
Oh, the whole thing is, I mean, we're not even really at the traps. There's a whole chunk of the season to go. Yes, it's very, very interesting. Yes, very interesting.
If anything, it's wiped the smile off Alison's face, which has been a bonus, because that kind of a look at me with condescending. But she's suddenly got a little bit of humility in there, although she had a brilliant, blistering start to the season. But predictors are great. Listen, everybody on our feed gives us their thoughts on who they think's going to win a game. Some get it right, some nail it. So that's just one of those things. Okay, so we've given all the predictions. Now, a couple other things I want to get your thoughts on, lads. Aberdeen have revealed their stadium plans at the 118th General Meeting, and I don't know about you, Ruffy, looks good. The main thing here from the key points of the AGM that I think a number of people will be excited by is the new stadium, a capacity between 16 and 17,000, season 2025-26. Aberdeen have sold a record number of over 9,000 season tickets, as well as catering for 700 corporate guests, which is a good thing. The majority of the club's recruitment will be completed earlier in the January transfer window, which I think is a good thing for fans. I don't think they want to wait to the last minute. And Aberdeen plan to become a UEFA Top 100 club based on coefficient ranking. They're currently 133rd. Something you don't really hear all that much, but I think it's a great goal to set. And 5 Club Financial Review has shown that there could be an immediate 20 to 30% increase in league income. So good positive signs, and I think good ambition by the club. If it's anything like Hibernian as well, you can see that American influence. They want to really commercialise it.
I think that's great, because it's a business. I mean, we know the game in Scotland's got a huge emotional and personal tie for fans, but ultimately it's a business, and they've got to maximise their resources. The only thing I'm slightly disappointed about the capacity. I know it's probably pretty realistic. I'd have liked a 20,000 stadium. I would have liked that.
On the basis that if they get into the top 100, it's because they're playing good football and they might get Europe.
And they get European draws, and I think they could sell out 20,000 with a good European draw.
Yeah, I wonder how many. What's the biggest? I wonder what the biggest crowd is. I must actually just put that in. When you think about Bayern Munich against Aberdeen, the capacity that.
Those capacities would be double that. You know, so I think that's a slight. A slight disappointment to me, but the other stuff's all very good and positive. These people have come in and put their money where their mouth was. Cormac and Gordon and American sort of links to Scottish football, and I think let them make their suggestions. Let them if it doesn't sort of throw out the whole grail of Scottish football. If it's new stuff on kick-offs and fan engagements. Already they're talking about television deals, etc., etc. Yep, let's go for it. Yeah. Nothing really should be out of bounds.
Although I'm looking there, Ruffy, the attendance, one of the biggest attendances for a Scottish Cup final was between Celtic and Aberdeen, 147,365. I wonder what the split was in the ticket allocation.
1930 something?
Yeah, I think it was actually. It's a good shout, Hugh. If you've nailed it as 1930 something, I'll be 1937.
1937. Well done, Hugh. I used to look at the clips of the old Scotland-England games, which were up there, 120, 130, around about the 30s and that, and I'm sure some of the older people who watch the show will remember everybody wore a bonnet.
A bonnet and a tie.
Had a bonnet, and when a goal was scored, the bonnets went up in the air. How did you know what bonnet you got? because you wouldn't be getting your own bonnet back. No, but that's 130,000. So
This is a show that asks the big questions, Peter.
The one that everybody's been hanging on about. What happened to your bonnet? So that's the big question.
Win an Xbox.
Yes.
Throw a bonnet up in the air, catch it, hit subscribe, and you're in the draw.
You're in the draw. Simple as that. Listen, I think as far as Aberdeen are concerned, that's positive news from them.
yeah. And it's good on the back of a couple of results they've had, because if you go to that AGM and throw up these stuff, everybody's going to look at these stuff and go, but hey, what about on the park? We haven't won a game in 8 or something like that, but they have won a game, and they have protected a couple of the young players. I think they see the young boy on this game. I think they were a wee bit disappointed. I think the pandemic's knocked them off a wee bit with the building of the stadium. I think they would have liked to have had the stadium going a wee bit quicker than, 2005 or something like that?
2025.
Aye, 25. So I think they would have liked that movement, that the supporters have now got the training ground. And I think they'd have liked to have seen the stadium moving, but there's nothing you can do about that. I think they posted losses of something like 5 million. And you can't be seen to be losing 5 million and start building a new stadium. So, no, like Hugh, I mean, everything that went up there, if you're a supporter, you'd go, great. But let's keep winning. No, let's get away from where we are in this league. They think they are the third force, and they should be up there with Hibs and Hearts, and that's where the supporters will want to be. But if they continue to win games, I'm sure by the end of the season they'll be not too far away from it if they keep that form they've got.
Yeah.
I like the thing of going to Deloitte's as well and saying to somebody outside the game, what could we be doing? What could we be doing better? How could we improve things? I think there's a need in Scottish football. In fact, I think there's a need in Scotland as a country for bigger thinking, for people just to sit down and think about things. Where are we going? What are we doing? What and football should be part of that. I think there's a need for real brains to be put in and said, listen, we've always done it this way, fair enough, but what about if we could do it this way? One of the crucial things I think, and if I was ever asked, would be for Scottish football to become a real brand. And I think to become a real brand, what we must find in Scottish football is a slot into broadcasting. And whether that means our league is a Friday night league or somewhere that you would be shown all over the world. There's not much football on that night.
Hugh,
you watch Scottish football.
When I worked for Sky Sports, it was one of the driving forces. They didn't want it. I mean, that is the point. The point here is there are clubs, chief executives, chairmen, owners who are dragging this country. They're actually stopping the progress. And until such times, this is something that you just said in the last 2 minutes that I've been saying, Ruffy, on this show for, weeks, months, years, which is quite simply, we need to, I know he was laughed out of town, the likes of Ron Gordon, the likes of Dave Cormack and other people, and Lachlan Cameron we had on the show 3 years ago now, Ruffy. It's quite simply that we need a fresh approach. I think, yes, we love the competition. Yes, we like the playoffs. We like all that. But I think we need to change the mindset of the brand and be more positive and get the clubs in and say, listen, if you continue to bicker, if you continue to backstab each other, and if you continue to live by the I'm all right, Jack, and self-interest code, we're going nowhere. And until they change that attitude, I don't think they'll get a slot, because I do think the major broadcasters at times wonder what they've bought into. And remember, I've paid the money before, Hugh, and bought into the football as PLZ. And it's not an environment where, the mindset is everything should be about how do we promote this brand. We've got to make it glossy, but we've got to make it in such a way that lots of the clubs get a chance to get a lot of money.
Well, that's the only way out now. I mean, it's not as if that'd be one of the, that's if you don't get broadcast money now, or a large chunk of broadcast money, well, the game's a bogey. That decides your budgets. I mean, what is the difference between, you look at a Brentford and an Aberdeen? you know, in terms of brand, in terms of achievement, in terms of history.
The difference is £100 million of a cheque immediately into their tail.
Exactly.
You know, which is why right now we're embracing things like the Conference League and the European competition, Ruffy, because it gives some of the clubs a chance to get £3 million, which £3 million, my God, you know, I think that's the pie receipts from Brentford.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why we want the teams like Hibs and Hearts and Aberdeen to try and be a wee bit more successful in Europe, because it'll spin off from a lot, you know. But my basic problem is obviously because I know how the money gets distributed, and it's not a level playing field. It's ridiculous the way the money gets. I mean, people don't realise if you fall out of that Premier League, you're down £600,000 as soon as you drop it, and there are other things as well that you and how do you get that 600 back? How do you get back up to where you were? It's an amazing amount of money that you lose just by falling out of that.
Yeah,
just get one of these wee cards I got to
and we go back to the start, which brings me nicely to this, because if you'd like to win an Xbox S Series, then I'm going to let Gabriel Antoniazzi tell you all about it and how you can do it.
Christmas is the time for giving, and this is your chance to win an Xbox One with us here at PLZ Soccer. All you've got to do is subscribe to the PLZ Soccer YouTube channel and share this video on your Facebook page. The winner will be announced next week, just in time for Christmas, so good luck.
You always talk in the middle of things when we're coming back. He just doesn't.
It was relevant. I was wondering if we know how many people are actually entering the competition.
Lots. The day I start counting them, Ruff, is the day I want you to beat me over the head with a hammer. Is that feasible?
No.
I know you like to do that on a regular basis anyway, but nevertheless, Xbox, it's an S series, and thanks to I think it was Mr. Lindsay or Jamie Lindsay who actually said, look, you're underselling this. This is an absolutely top drawer one that everybody's looking for. So I think we've done okay with it. It's the S Series Xbox. What a chance. All you have to do is subscribe, or indeed if you're on the Facebook page, like, share and follow, and you're in the hat, and we'll put all the names that are in the hat. I'll count them all and tell Ruffy how many are in, and then we'll get you to pick the winner on Friday, Ruffy. Is that okay?
That'd be great. Love to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
A smile on somebody's face.
There you are. That's what you're all about, Ruffy. We're all made up. There's different personalities on this crew. I'm the not so likeable one from some emails this week.
I was like, I fall into that bracket as well, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruffy's Mr. Likeable, and there are a few others who've got other categories at the moment.
We did think if Hugh was going to take the chance of coming in with his Dortmund.
Yeah, we thought about that, Hugh. Why didn't you come in with your Dortmund top this week?
That's right. I wonder why. Funny enough, I was in Qatar in my Dortmund gear. I went to I wanted to, but my thing is I'm just out of isolation, Peter.
Yes.
I got out of isolation at 2 p.m. today, so.
Yeah, of course, because once you come out of the country, you've got to wait.
You've got 2 days, and you've got to test, and then your test's got to come back negative. So. All good.
Yeah,
so I just came out.
But you were aware that, you know, Dortmund Rangers, I mean,
I'll tell you one
we're
thing.
having you on the show that night because it's going to be fantastic to hear you.
Yeah, I just hope, see with this COVID thing, I really hope and pray that the Rangers fans get a chance to go to the Westfalen.
Will you go?
Well, I doubt it. I doubt I would have the ability to get a ticket for the Westfalen at short notice, because it'll be pretty tight for Rangers fans. I mean, I'm hoping for a full attendance. I mean, we know in Germany at the moment there's not a full attendance.
Yeah.
They're down to less than half at times. But I would hope it was a full attendance, and that Rangers fans would get their allocation and go, because this is a stadium to see. And similarly, Dortmund fans would be keen to come. They travel in great numbers, and they would sell out easily, Peter, all their allocation as well. This is 2 teams with huge travelling supports, committed travelling supports. This will be a real atmosphere, 2 games of a real atmosphere. If I could get to them both, I would go. But it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. Brian was saying, what strip will you be wearing on today?
Whoever picks me, whoever you get a game for.
Exactly, wherever end you get a ticket for you. Anyway, just a quick one here before we go, Ruffy. Arsenal have stripped Aubameyang of the captain's armband ahead of the West Ham tie. So suddenly people are looking and thinking, who's the next candidate? Who's the ideal Arsenal captain? I've got one in mind.
You're going to say Kieran Tierney, aren't you?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, the young player. He's been very successful down there. Why not? Why have they taken over?
Well, disciplinary procedure. He's broken the rules, so he was dropped for the last game.
What kind of rules? We can't really.
It's in-house. Arteta's been asked about it. This is
By the way, he's got an incredible record for this Aubameyang. It stretches well back to Dortmund.
This is not the only one. This is what Mikel Arteta had to say on the breach.
I think it's a really clear statement from the club. It's a decision that we have made following the incident, the last incident that we have with the player, and this is where we stand.
Well, he's keeping tight-lipped about it. I think Tierney would be the perfect one.
Absolutely.
The Arsenal fans love him.
Well, no, and he is a captain, Tierney. I mean, he's just everything about him. He's a guy that, I mean, I think one of the great things about Tierney was, one of the great comments about him was when Arteta was asked when he was coming back from injury, you know, what he was like, and Arteta went out his way to say, this boy is just absolutely killing it in the gym to get back, and you see that all the time with Tierney. Yeah. Tierney would be my captain all day and all night.
Yeah, I think the general feeling, gossip as it is, Ruffy, is that Aubameyang promised to come back from a trip, but he got back late from France, so boom, straight in there. Not that was ever a prerequisite of discipline at your time.
I'm trying to weigh that up with, you know, try to get into a room for a ladder 3 stories up, you know, and a night out, you know.
All I can say is Aubameyang is not as sneaky as Ruffy was in his playing days.
No, I don't think there's anybody as sneaky as Ruffy was in his playing days. The Scarlet Pimpernel.
I really wish he would write the second book, the real autobiography, the one that he actually released before. It's like, you know that bit when Dorothy opens the door in The Wizard of Oz, and it's all yellows and purples and there's flowers everywhere. If Ruffy decided to write,
there was the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
It's one of those. If you wrote the real one, by the way, there would be people actually just ducking for cover.
It was worse than that. It was the last time it was rumoured I was going to do it. There was lawsuits coming in before from people who didn't even know if they were going to be in it. So
it would have been.
I don't know if the Metropolitan Police have got enough resources to investigate Ruffy's book.
And of course the search goes on for his first love. We could never find, what was her name again?
Senga.
So we could never find Senga.
I thought in the 70th This Is Your Life, if Senga had walked through that door.
Yeah, I think Walk would have been really optimistic. With all due respect to you, Ruffy. I'm going to finish on a sad note, which is of course that ex-Man City striker Sergio Aguero is about to announce his retirement. He obviously had a little heart scare, hasn't been able to really get involved in Barcelona in the move, hasn't worked out, hasn't played a lot of times because basically his health is priority. And I say a sad end to a career, but what a career.
Absolutely, what a career. What a player, what a fighter, what a technically good player, what a goal scorer. I mean, he'll remain in the hearts of Manchester City fans for one moment alone, you know, the goal against Queen's Park Rangers that won them the league, but so many other great moments. Absolutely elite, top-class player. So, well done to him. Hope he enjoys a great life away from football.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a great player. I mean, he is one of the guys that you would look at and say, there's a stat you got to be outside the Etihad at some point.
Yeah, because you know, obviously Hugh touched on there, everybody's never got a chance to see that. You should look it up. It's the way that particular game just panned it, you know, minute by minute. But yeah, I thought, I was hoping he was going to go to Barcelona, Real Madrid a wee bit earlier than what he did, you know, maybe a couple of seasons, because I think we would have seen his right potential when they were at their peak. If he get the chance to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I've enjoyed the chat. Of course, we will discuss on tomorrow's programme the game tonight between Hibs and Dundee. We'll also look in greater detail at Rangers against St Johnstone and the journey up to Dingwall for Celtic when they take on Ross County. Don't forget, you can win the Xbox. Good luck if you want to subscribe to our channel and join the football family. And also you can do that on Facebook as well. If you want to, and if you've got a chance, download the app, PLZ Soccer app. You'll get all the latest breaking news. You can also watch the programme at your leisure. You You can also listen to podcasts on it, which is great as well. If you've missed the show, you can do that at your own leisure time, and especially over the festive period. Nothing better, a wee bit of company and some good shows as well. We've all been picking our dream teams. Ruffy's have you picked the best 11 you've played with?
Yes.
Which is, I'll tell you right now, if you could name the best 11 Ruffy's played with, you're doing well. Hugh, what have you picked?
Best Scotland 11 in my lifetime that I've watched.
That's the best 11 that you've seen?
Yeah, best 11 that I've watched, but it does go back to the 1960s, so it's quite a lot of decades.
There's a lot of good players.
He obviously never went to any of the games that I played in.
No.
Because he never picked me.
No, don't worry about that, Ruffy, don't worry.
No, I did go to all the games that he said, and that's why I didn't pick him.
He was a top drawer goalkeeper. And I picked my favourite 11 for Liverpool, which is some team to pick from. I wonder who's going to make it in and who's going to be left out. There's a big clamour for Salah. Will he make it into my dream team? Only time will tell. Listen, thank you to the countless amount of people who have messaged us, who've dropped his emails and obviously downloaded the app and sent his messages as well. We do indeed ask you to come along with us and join PLZ Soccer, join the football family. Every one of us from time to time makes a mistake there, but for the grace of God go I. If you've made a mistake in your life, we'll forgive you. Come and join us. That's what this life's all about. That's for the people who only see negative things and have posted the messages on today's show. Thanks for watching.